My name's Randy Barnes. This is called Don't Hack Me Bro. It's security backup for regular, normal, English-speaking people, users, not developers, coders, programmers, script kiddies, and pointy-headed geeks. This is for regular folks. So that's what I am. I'm a WordPress fan. I'm a WordPress user, a blogger. I do not hack code. I'm just a guy that loves WordPress. I think everybody loves WordPress because it's free and it's relatively easy. We can kind of figure it out. We know how to make a post. We can see our results instantly, and it's fairly friendly. So I'm just a clown, a happy camper, and I love WordPress. Some other clowns love WordPress too, and they've gone bad. They find ways to hack your site. They practice on WordPress. WordPress has got a lot of breadcrumbs it drops along the internet to leave trails to what it is and where it is. So there's a community of clowns out there that are trying to get into your WordPress site. WordPress, this is where they start to lose me. It's a CMS powered by PHP and MySQL. Who knows what PHP stands for? Y'all can leave. PHP, it actually started out as something that makes sense, personal home page. It now stands for PHP Hypertext Preprocessor. So this is where I get lost. Blah, 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 blah. I don't work in that world. This is called a recursive acronym. Acronym's got itself in there. MySQL. Anybody knew what that stands for? Structured Query Language. My is actually the developer's daughter's name. It's named for a little girl. I learned that in this research. Who cares? This is all free stuff. Runs on an Apache web server. Apache runs almost the whole internet. Apache is a free open source platform, which runs on Linux, another free open source platform. Everybody on earth has access to this stuff. Little geeks in every country and corner of the earth are practicing on all this stuff, trying to figure out how to hack it. This is their briar patch. They're working on your blog, trying to get in. If you're like most of us, you're on shared hosting. You don't have enough money to have your own dedicated web server. This is like the CEO's house has his private pool. When you go to the party at the private pool in the big fancy house, you probably get out to pee. It's like that on your web servers. You can do everything right, but if this guy's not doing it right, somebody can hack through him, get to the root directory of the server, and get to your site. So it's just a kind of analogy. You can kind of put it into terms we might understand. Even though it's free, it's not free for your time, your energy, your assets, the work you've done, you put up into WordPress. You're proud of it. You want people to see it. Your reputation is at stake. So even though only my mother reads my blog, you know, it's my reputation. I don't want it to look bad, and I want to kind of protect it. If you are hacked, who saw Professor Dre's presentation on security? This guy knows how to put a website back together again. There aren't many people with that skill set who can unhack your system. My solution, if you're hacked, is just erase it and start over. Because that's about the only choice if you're not going to spend a whole lot of money getting somebody real professional in there to put it back together again. There are a lot of real-world examples out there I can point to. This is one. I happened to find this on my own, but there are a lot of them out there. I think WordPress.com's even been hacked a little. But the Social Media Breakfast is a national organization. They have meetings. There's 2 here in Atlanta. And I was at the national site, and I was doing a little Google search. If you do the phrase site : your domain name, it'll show you all the pages that Google has indexed in your site. And this one's got what they call the pharma hack. So Viagra is probably one of the biggest hacks. They're putting links in behind you, supporting their pharmacy sales. And this one indeed was hacked. They cleaned it up, but it was still in the index because Google is the first one to know you've been hacked. They're following your site a lot closer than you are, looking at all the parts of it. And they see this, and they may see other code, other pages that have been injected into your site. And then when your customers come to your website, they get this. This happened to a friend of mine here, Peace for Prosperity, a local little blog. She sold stuff to raise money for Christmas and went to her site, and this is what came up. This one's actually EP Monthly, and it's emergency physicians. They do site for doctors. You can imagine somebody was pleasantly surprised with this. They come into work and look at their site, and what do? You have to unhack yourself. Google thinks you're a hacker. Google thinks you're trouble, so they blocked your site. And that's just where I don't want you to be. So I decided that this was worth cross-stitching on a pillow. WordPress security begins at installation. When you install WordPress, a lot of us will use a third-party installer, Fantastico or some other provided installer through a host. Click a button, bang, 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 WordPress is installed automatically. I no longer do that. I go here, go to WordPress, download the code, and install it from there. They have a thing called a 5-minute install. I'd like for there to be a survey on WordPress.com of how long the 5-minute install takes, because the first one took me about 3 hours, and I've done 40 or 50 of them now. I can get them in about 15 minutes. So it's not that difficult, but I have to refer to the 5-minute install guideline instructions still every time. You know, the short bus people have to follow the template. But if you start here, you're going to be a lot better off. Yes?
So today I did get a free site from WP Engine, and they just...
Well, WP Engine does not really apply to this because they're different.
What do you mean?
I mean, they know what they're doing better than Joe Average Host.com. So I'm going to defer any questions about that to them. They can answer, but I would not worry about them at all. That's a different thing, because when you get that site, you don't install WordPress. WordPress is already installed. They've done the right installation for you. This is more for another host where you have nothing installed and you're on your own to install it, but like a third-party installer app. When you install WordPress, you get 2 plugins, maybe standard. I don't know. One, Akismet, Stop Spam. This is not really money thing, but it's a reputation thing. You don't want trashy, spammy comments posted on your blog. And to show you a real example, this is one of my blogs, easyvideoguy.com. This is where it started. I've had 2,670 people have visited, 3,000 visits. And I've had 10,500 spam comments. Hello? How can they do that? I have more spam comments blocked than I have total traffic. So there's some robots out there working diligently to put stupid comments into your blog. So this is my first recommendation to get this. Yes?
If you don't allow comments on your blog, do you need to
If you don't
use
allow
a
comments on your blog, I don't think that's a problem at all. Most of us do, and if you do, then you definitely need to be concerned. I always allow comments, and I always kind of filter them. I want to see the comments before, prove them before they're posted.
You want to see what your mama said.
That's exactly right. Now, I don't know if you can see this, but I have 6 comments in this blog, 27 posts. You can kind of see a ratio of how many posts you're going to get to how many comments you're going to get. And when you see 500 comments in your queue, you're going to know, it ain't your mama. You're also going to see, when you log into WordPress, you're going to see these little notices. Update WordPress. It's available. Please update now. The theme, this is Genesis 1.8, is available. Update it now. Plugins, Akismet, available. Update it now. Now, in Dre's presentation, he had actual numbers, and they run an actual company, Unhacking Problems. And his numbers were 73% of the problems were created by out-of-date apps. So people are searching the web. They're looking for WordPress 2.8 point whatever. They're looking for known vulnerabilities that they can exploit, and they're finding them and taking advantage of them. So I thought that was a pretty impressive number. 73% of the problems can be solved by this. Update. It's quite easy. Just click update now. I have a new policy that when I go in and update, I see an update available, I do it. I update. That's a good hint, a good idea. Another piece. Hackers come to your website. What's your website address login page, right? Blah, blah, blah.com/WP. That's login.php. I can go there, put in admin, and sit there all day and hammer it. People do this because I get emails every few hours, people trying to do it on my websites. I changed my username to something not admin, and I use a strong password. This way, anybody comes and tries to hack into my site, they've got a barrier. It's the same thing as putting a deadbolt lock instead of the one with the button on your front door. It's not the best thing in the world, but it's better than it was. So, that's an ugly password. You can go generate them at strongpasswordgenerator.com. You can come up with your own. The idea is that you need to include upper and lower case and symbols. You can make your own words, use 3s for E's, whatever, but do something that's a stronger password than you're normally comfortable with. Now, I keep my passwords in a 3-wing binder at my desk, at my home office. People don't come there, so I don't worry about people stealing my notebook. KeePass is an open source free password manager. It worked. I never want to keep my database in only one place, though, because I have a password manager one time where the database got corrupted. I could never open it again, so I couldn't get to my passwords. So that's why I now keep them in a notebook. But if you're going to keep it, then keep a backup copy of your database somewhere. That's my advice. These 2 paid solutions, RoboForm and 1Password, I have a lot of friends that use them that have good success with that. You may want to look at that. It's Mac and Windows. And
RoboForm has a cloud solution. Copies your database out to the web.
Well, I think this is a great thing. And I'll probably move to that. If I ever get out of my one-man office in my back bedroom, then I will...
What's your address?
Maybe look at that. I'll sell you my password book, Actually, about $40, I'll let you have it. The admin username. Now, this is what I've learned in my research for security is that the admin username, you can change it, but people can still see your username in a lot of blogs, because whenever you write a blog post, you know how it has your author name there? And mine says Randy Barnes, which is what I wanted to show you, but that's not my username for that account. But if you point to it, you'll see down in the corner the username. If you click on it, you'll see that in the URL. So what I've started doing is something I think that makes good policy, is to use 2 user accounts. One I write my blog post with, and one I do the administration with. So I've got an administrator account where I go in and tweak on my blog. I've got another account where I post content. Yes, sir.
And the new WordPress installer, I think since 3.2, lets you change the admin username when you do the installation. So you don't have
Yes, you can. But if you have not, if you haven't done it yet, and see these notices I'm getting every few hours, they're all using admin for the username. So I know that's what's trying out there. They've got scripts running that are using that, so they know admin's there. If you go and change it, there are 2 ways to do it. The easiest way is to create a second account with a second email address. Log in with the second account, delete the admin account, change your address back to the first one. That works. And there's a video in this presentation, which is online. You can watch and see how to do it the other way, if you want to do it the hard way. Now, I mentioned that I'm getting emails a lot where people are trying to hack my site. I use this. There are a couple of plugins. I don't know if one's better than the other. This is the one I use, limit login attempts. And what it does is it limits, when you come into that login page, by default, there's no limit the number of tries you can do on the password. This will let you know, okay, you screwed up the password, you only have 3 attempts left. You only have 2, you only have 1. And if you fail 4 times, it locks you out. And it emails me a message that someone has tried to log in and been locked out. You can change the settings in that to 3 attempts, 4, 2, log them out for 20 minutes, for an hour, for 2 days, whatever. But I was surprised once I set that up how many attempts there actually are. This is one, the 85bytes.com. 16 hours ago, 13 hours ago, 6 hours ago, I'm getting emails from failed login attempts. It's locking people out from these IP addresses, which are usually Eastern Europe, Asia. You can track the IPs. They're coming from all over, but the idea is you want to just limit the number of people, the number of times people can try to get in. What do you think? Y'all can handle all this. Anybody not understand any of that? Yes?
Is this happening to most WordPress sites? Are there
It's happening to mine. I don't know.
Yeah.
I would say yes.
And just to follow up with what you just said, a lot of these attacks are distributed and automated, so they basically, it's not like a person sitting there typing.
Right. It's not some little guy trying to do all of them by himself. He could never get to 10,000 comments on my blog.
So they can attempt to log in thousands of times in a short amount of time, and that can actually, not only is this a security issue, because maybe they'll eventually pick the right password, but it also factors into the server and slow your site down as well.
What do they want once they get it?
I don't know what they want. I don't talk about the bad clowns. I'm a happy clown. I don't know what they want. But I don't want them to get any of it, so I just try to lock them out. Yes?
I've found some plugins that say they'll give like a 404 error to spam bots. But what I don't get about that is, how does it know a spam bot from a real person?
Well, that's a great question, and one you'll have to ask somebody that talks up here, because I don't have any idea. There's probably a repository of spam bot knowledge that it's running through. But the idea is that there are bots out there are people out there that are trying to hack a site that's got, running on all these free platforms, because they know. I don't know if they're just practicing their skills, sharpening their saw. Yes?
So I believe you can't change your admin username or your username once you set it up. You have to actually delete and redo. Does that affect?
You build a new admin first.
Yeah.
And then go delete the old one.
So if you delete the old one, though, I imagine the content that was under that name.
Yeah, it'll ask you want to move it to this account or that account.
Oh.
So you move it over to a different
so you do
user.
have to answer some questions in order so you don't like delete it. Or
yeah,
something.
any user that you generate, you might have 10 different admin accounts and 100 different user accounts. You can, so if you delete a user, it lets you choose to move it to the other. Yes.
You mentioned about the comments, about how you like to read them before they actually post on your site.
Yes.
Is that something that's standard, or is there a plugin, or how does that?
I think that's the standard setup, is it? Yeah. It's the way that it's in your, I think, general setting in your dashboard. There's an excellent little choice of comment options. You can have no comments. You can allow them to post automatically. You can allow logged in users to post. I choose to approve my comments.
And you can also set it up to where once you've approved someone's comments once, they'll always be approved. That way you know that that's where they
Yeah, if you've got if you want to let your mom comment unfiltered, let her go. Bubba here has got a watch on the place. He's got it covered pretty well. But maybe you need a little more than that. There's a little magic place in your control panel or in your FTP account, a little file in there called WP config. And while I'm here, this is your cPanel. You don't want to secure your WordPress and forget about your cPanel, because when you log into your hosting account, you also want to use a strong password, which for the longest time, about 12 years, I've had the stupidest, simplest little password in my hosting account that hadn't been changed since 1999. Until last year I changed it. But I thought of that. But all this information is stored up in this config file. If the hacker gets into that, they got the keys to the store. And you can go in there and do some edits and change and improve some security. This is what it looks like. This is the kind of stuff that I don't like to see. I don't like looking at code. I don't understand it. But I do know that in here there's a couple things. The keys and salts I don't understand or care about. I just know they're important, all this string of gobbledygook. And also in there's a list of what your database prefix is. And it's generally always WP underscore. So the hackers who know a lot more about these platforms than we do know that you're going to have a database with a prefix WP underscore. So they code their little monkeys to come in there and look for that. If you use some third-party installer, those keys and salts, that string of numbers that encrypts everything, they use the same thing in every installation. So there might be 10,000 blogs out there with the same keys and salts. You need to have unique ones in yours. So these two steps are a little more complicated, not very serious, changing this information. And this is especially if you've got a blog up that you put up a year or two ago. Say you use Fantastico or something like that where you installed it, you got it up and going, and now it's got some legs. You've got some traffic, some visitors, some strength, and you don't want to lose it. You don't want to start over. I recommend you go in there and strengthen it up. And it's rather easy to do. Go to that web address, click on it, and you get the data. All you got to do is copy and paste, because that's what blogging is, right? Copy and paste. Yeah, I don't know. Call it R&D, rob and duplicate. You all know how to copy and paste. You go there, you get new keys and salts and paste them right where it tells you. It's just obvious. Well, it's in your file, right? It's in the config file. And it's also in this presentation, which is...
It's also in the 5-minute install.
It's also, yeah, it's easy to find.
So you're saying don't use a 1-minute installer?
I'm saying that if you use a one-click installer, it's subject to doing something like this. Yes, sir, please.
Some of the one-click installers are really good. So the ones
Right,
on
and that's the thing. We don't know which ones are good and which ones aren't.
Yeah, so the ones on Bluehost, DreamHost, and GoDaddy, even GoDaddy, I know, are actually really good, and they'll configure it correctly. And when you do the one-click, the advantage is that they'll do auto upgrades for you.
Yes, that's the thing too, and thank you, because that's probably more true now than it was a year or two ago.
Yeah, they've gotten way better. But a third-party one, like a random one,
if you did
like
this 2 years ago,
You said Bluehost and who?
DreamHost and GoDaddy.
And will that work, say if it's Fantastico? If it works on one host, will Fantastico work on any of the other ones, or?
I wouldn't recommend Fantastico. It has some of the problems that he said, and also they're usually a few versions behind. But like
see, that's the thing about that swimming pool. You know, you're in that swimming pool. They're running PHP. What version? What patches have they got? Has the host got, you know, all the up-to-date versions? And it's so complicated for us normal people. We don't want to know about that. So if you've got an established blog that wasn't installed, or you question whether it was installed correctly, it's really simple to beef it up. It's a whole lot simpler to do this than to reinvent the wheel when it's crashed.